Welcome into Main Street Living. I'm Danielle Alvari.
I'm Cheryl Nelson. Danielle, it's so good to see you. And we have a lot to get to in this episode of Main Street Living. We're going to take a look at a college program giving students the hands-on tools to get good jobs in the automotive industry. And also, NFL training camps are underway. And we will talk with Super Bowl champion Malcolm Mitchell from the New England.
I know you're excited.
Yes, who is currently doing important work as a digital equity ambassador for Cox Communications. And Danielle, I know many people feel the void on the sports calendar during the dog days of summer, but I know that you find yourself busy this time of the year. You got a lot going on in the sports world.
Oh, absolutely. As you know, work in sports year round. And for me, this is my favorite part of the year because it is WNBA season. So I've been working hard on my WNBA pod and was recently actually at my first ever WNBA All-Star game in Las Vegas, which just happened to have a historic performance at it. Greatest shooting performance of all time. Sabrina Ionescu in the three-point contest. She only missed 2 shots. She shot 92%. It's a record for the men's and the women's side. It was incredible to witness in person. And of course, it was a lot of fun just to be at the All-Star game and all the energy around that. So don't forget, there is basketball going on in the summer. But speaking of the summer, I'm a little jealous, Cheryl, because I've seen that you've gotten outside a lot more than I have.
I know. Yeah, I live at the coast, so I certainly try to get outside. I'm enjoying the summer, getting out in the water and safely getting out in the sun. But you know, I've noticed that more people are out and about, more people are on the roads, and the traffic always seems to be getting worse. And there's one thing that we all want to try to avoid on Main Street, and that is the car accident, because there's a lot of crazy drivers out there.
Yeah, but at least if it happens on Main Street, hopefully you see some friends. I don't know if that's good. If you want the neighbors to see it happen.
You don't want to crash, no.
Right. But we all have to be prepared. So what should you do if you find yourself in that situation? Our first guest of the day has the answer. Christian Oliver is a managing attorney for the Barnes firm in San Diego, California, and they know a thing or two about car crashes. Christian, thank you for joining Main Street Living.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, absolutely. We're so happy to have you. And I hope we don't want to be in this situation, but most of us have probably been in a little fender bender at some point or another. And everything seems okay, but what should you do if you're in a fender bender? Because you think, I'm fine. I'll just go and not get the person's information. But there's probably things you should do.
You would not be surprised that I get this question all the time, especially from friends and family. It's always a popular cocktail hour conversation, which you can imagine is quite fun for me. But for you folks, it's a great question because it does happen all the time. You get into an accident, you feel like you're okay, you're frazzled, your adrenaline's rushing, and you're at the scene, cars are coming and going. The first thing to do is to move off to the side of the road and make sure you're somewhere safe. The second is to self-evaluate and make sure you're okay. If you feel okay, then calling the police isn't really necessary because they will not respond if there's not an injury at the scene. So in that situation, exchange information with the other drivers, and then just document what you can document safely. Take photographs. If there are witnesses, those friends of yours on Main Street, then make sure you get their information because oftentimes you may feel okay today, but unfortunately that may change tomorrow. So the best advice, make sure you're safe. Secondly, exchange the information. Thirdly, document what you can document with photographs, exchange information, get witnesses, statements, things like that.
Yeah, and it's a good advice. And as you know, I'm in Los Angeles, so I unfortunately have been involved in one of these before. I wish I had a managing attorney at dinners with me to help me with these problems ahead of time. But one of the biggest questions that people ask, and sort of the headache really after everything happens, is dealing with the insurance companies. How should that be handled?
Well, I have a love-hate relationship with insurance companies. On one hand, they make my life difficult because they don't always do the right and fair thing. But on the other hand, we call that job security. So, insurance is a necessary evil in our society. When you have to have your own insurance in California in order to bring a claim. It's okay to report the incident to them, but we strongly suggest that you retain counsel before speaking to insurance companies because they'll record what you say and they may take what you say out of context later down the road. And if you're dealing with the other driver's insurance, they very well may try to lowball you with $500 or $1,000, which, if you're not hurt at the time, may seem like a win. But oftentimes there are injuries that are latent, that take time to develop, and may require missing work for extended periods of time, may require surgery, where you could have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills. So if you take $1,000, days after the accident, by talking to the defense insurance company, that settles your case forever. So the important thing to do is report everything, but do it through counsel and protect yourself. What I like to say is hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So that's what we recommend, is that you retain counsel right away.
So basically, is it okay if you refuse to talk to the other person's insurance company? Are you allowed to do that, to not share information yet?
That's an excellent question. Absolutely. You have no obligation to speak to the other insurance carrier under any circumstance. They may want a recorded statement. They may want to make it sound like it's official, but the reality is there's zero obligation to speak to the other insurance company.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that was clear. Now, I'm curious, is there a personal history that led you to practice law in this field?
Interestingly enough, I too was in an accident when I was young. Unfortunately, it was an offender bender. We were kids, we were fooling around. Someone else was driving my car, actually, and the car flipped over, and it led to 10 surgeries. I was in the hospital for many months, and it was a life-altering experience for me. And I didn't come up from with means, so the medical bills were a real concern for my family. So we hired lawyers to help us, and they helped my family navigate it. And that's actually what started me on my path to being a trial lawyer.
Wow.
Oh man. So this is very personal for you, which is important, I think, for especially something like this. Now, as I mentioned, I'm in Los Angeles. We all know about Southern California and its infamous traffic. Over 20,000 accidents each year in San Diego alone. But you've also worked in New York City before coming to California. So you've seen the worst of the worst in both coasts. Are the reputations of drivers in both places deserved, or do you think there's a difference?
Oh, good question.
That's a great question. I'm going to get myself in trouble from both coasts. Apparently, I'm a glutton for punishment. I like traffic, but the coasts each earn their respective reputations. But I chose Southern California and San Diego specifically for a reason. So I'll take the traffic we have out here over the insanity that is back on the East Coast.
Thank you so much, Christian, for taking the time and helping us out today.
Thank you. You've been great. Thank you.
All right. Like we said, we hope this is unnecessary information, but it's still a very important topic that most people don't think about until it's too late.
Oh, I know. It's always good to be prepared. Prepare with Share is my motto. And there's another thing that you'll possibly need to find after a car crash, and that is a good mechanic, Danielle. So next up, we're going to take a look at the College of Southern Nevada's program that is putting its students in positions to succeed in a highly competitive field. Don't go anywhere.